We're rolling. Hi guys, Richard the Watchmaker here again, and today we are in the hills just to the southwest of Rome at the very beautiful Villa Grazioli, and it's such a lovely and elegant place that I thought it was the ideal location to introduce the watch which is the subject of this video, and that watch is the Rolex Lady-Datejust, the Oyster Perpetual. This particular piece is the stainless steel version with the white gold bezel, and as you can see, it's on the sundial here, so the watch should be telling us that the time is getting towards midday. So welcome. This video is all about the Rolex Lady-Datejust. Welcome to Rome. So it's evening time now, and I've hunkered down with a nice bottle of Frascati that you can see there. Frascati is the town that we're in, and it is famous for its white wine, and I can vouch for the fact that it's really, really good. So time to look at this very beautiful watch by Rolex, and if I can just get it to focus there it is. Okay, so this is the Rolex reference 69174. It's got the 2135 movement in it, and we'll open the watch up in a minute and have a good look at that. But first I just want to talk about, you know, the look of the watch and a little bit about its history. So firstly, and I was about to say controversially, but it isn't really controversial. Interestingly, this is a lady's size watch. Now, you know, in these modern times, some people will balk at that expression alone. You know, why should ladies' watches be any different in size to men's watches? Well, I'm going to deal with that subject in some detail in a minute, because I think it's really important for this particular watch. The reason I think it's really important is that when we look at the watch here, to all extensive purposes, it is pretty identical to the man's size watch. Again, controversial phrase. So, you know, if we compare it, I don't have a man's Datejust here, but you know, here is a typical, this is my Seiko 35 jewel, yeah, get that, 35 jewels, Seikomatic, and you know, very, very beautiful watch. And this is a 1964 watch, so you know, it's not even big for a man size watch. I think it's about 38 millimeters across, and you can see that the Rolex here is just 26 millimeters across, and you can add about 1.5 millimeters for the crown here, so it is a small watch. So just taking a look at the watch in some detail here, clearly we have the Rolex logo at the top. We've got the applied indices around the outside. We have, and they're Roman numerals, of course, as you can see. The case is stainless steel. It is a Jubilee strap. This type of strap here with the 3 links in the middle and then these outer links is called a Jubilee strap. It's got a deployment clasp with all the Rolex embossed livery on it, and the fluted bezel, which is, you know, very characteristic of the Datejust range, and this fluted bezel is in white gold. And so with a screw down crown, a watertight crystal, and a decent high quality screw down case back, the watch is watertight and therefore it deserves its oyster credentials. The watch is self-winding, and we'll have a look at how it does that when we open up the movement, and that's why it's called perpetual, because the watch winds itself up. We have the Cyclops here and the date. The watch also has a quick date change. If I just unscrew the crown a minute, you'll hear that, hear it pop out there. In this first position, you can just wind the movement, okay? You can just probably hear it there, winding. And then we just pull it out one little click. There we go. And that gives us the quick date change. I'll just change that back to the actual date today, which is 28th. Okay, this is really, really useful. This came with the 2135 movement. Prior to that, with the 2035 movement, you couldn't do that. You had to actually change the time on the watch, which can be a little bit laborious. And then if we pull it all the way out, we can change the just pull it all the way out. We can change the time on the watch. So that's all pretty standard stuff. You know, those positions aren't much different to your average Seiko. So let's just pop that crown back in. There we go. So that's tightening the crown up there, making it nice and watertight. Top tip, always remember to screw down the crown after adjusting the watch, because if you don't and you jump into a swimming pool or go in the shower, you're going to feel that nice movement that I'll show you in a moment, full of water, which is not going to do it any good at all if I can get this thing to focus. So just to recap, we have the nice sunburst dial, we have the applied indices, we've got the Rolex logo, we've got the Cyclops, we've got the date change, we've got the fluted bezel in white gold, and we've got the stainless steel case with the Jubilee strap. Okay, and we have got a watch that is in a lady's size. Now, I happen to think that in spite of what is going on in the industry at the moment, is a very, very good thing. Now, let me just describe why, or rather explain why I think a watch of this size is just such a good idea for a woman. Now, clearly, the girls, they can wear whatever watch they want to. I am not about to advise women or dictate to them what is a good size watch to wear. A woman can wear whatever size watch she wants to. And indeed, she should feel free to wear whatever size watch she wants to. And those two things are actually subtly different because of cultural pressure. So as I zoom in on this watch and make it really look quite big, we must remember, as I've said, it is a lady's size watch, and also it is really defined by its size. Okay, the man's watch, the Rolex Datejust, designed for a man, actually came out in 1945, and it wasn't until 1957 that the first ladies version, the smaller version like this, came out, and to all extensive purposes it was the same watch but smaller. Now, what I deduce from that is that if the size no longer matters because the girls are all wearing bigger watches, you know, this particular model would surely start to wither on the vine. Now, that is clearly not the case, and why it's not the case I'm going to explain now. So, Men don't wear watches this size, and I'm not even going to give any scientific reason for that. They don't wear watches this size because they look stupid on a man. Now, what I would suggest is, whilst a woman can wear a big watch in certain outfits, if she starts to wear more elegant clothes, if she's going out, you know, to a cocktail party or out to a dinner or a reception, and she wears, you know, a really nice little number by Roberto Cavalli or Dior or F&F, whatever, and she slips her nimble little size 10 into a little size 10 black dress, then I would humbly suggest that a big watch on her wrist is going to jar with that outfit. Because, and here's the thing, women and men are different, and a small watch on a smaller, elegant wrist is quite a powerful thing. Now, also we need to think what is in the minds of the watch industry. Now, the watch industry really just want to ship watches to ladies. Now, if ladies have already got a small watch, and many of them have, it's in the watch industry's interests to persuade women that it is useful for them, or trendy, or good for them to wear a larger watch. Because, you know, if what I have said is true, that for some outfits a bigger watch isn't really going to work, this means that a lot of women are going to end up having at least 2 watches, and that's a really good thing for the industry. So, you know, really, to sum this up, what I'm saying here is this watch is defined almost by its size, not by its features, because its features are exactly the same as the man's version. Okay, and if a woman wants to wear a Datejust, she can just go and get a man's Datejust. But what I'm saying is, if she does that in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, you know, or any other type of you know, casual outfit that she's wearing, that's going to work just great. There's going to be no difficulty with that at all. It's actually quite cool. But if she goes to a more classic outfit, then that is really probably, in my humble opinion, a little bit of a risk, and it's not going to work so well. So really, in her armory of accessories, this thing is really, really useful, because, you know, a watch like this new is going to set you back about £5,000 or £6,000. So, you know, most people can't afford one, let alone 2. So if you're going to have one, you really need one that will work with all the outfits that you wear. Because if you wear jeans and a leather jacket, this watch, if you're a girl, is going to work just great. It's also going to work great with a more formal, feminine outfit. So, yeah, back in 1957, when the guys decided that to suit the feminine wrist, they really needed to reduce the size of the current Datejust at that time, I would humbly suggest that those guys got it right. And this piece that you can see here in front of you, for a woman, is an absolute classic. And, you know, I'm not saying that you should sell your kidney to get one, but you know, definitely if you're able to, then it might be a nice idea to save your pennies for a watch of this distinction and style and quality. So there we are. We're going to open it up now and have a look inside at the 2135 movement that's actually powering that sweep hand as it goes around there. So let's do that. So when you take a Rolex apart, you're going to need a tool that looks something like this. Do not even think about starting to do it without the right tools. Okay, it's pretty easy to see how this particular thing works. Essentially, you have a tool here with a set of serrated teeth. If I can get that in focus, just get the light on there. Yeah, that's quite good. You can see that there, and that fits on to the equally serrated edge of the case back on the back of the Rolex. And all you do is clip it on there, locate the watch in the cradle here, and then apply some torque via the holes here. You get a bar for that. I'm not going to go through that in detail now. If you want to see that in action, then watch my video on the disassembly and assembly of this watch. But when you go through that process and neatly take the back off, you then reveal this really stunning movement. Now, I am just going to step through why this movement is just so great, and we're just going to go through that now. So as we start to look at the movement, let's just focus in at the beating heart of the movement, the balance there, and let's have a really good look at that. And there is the balance much more magnified. So as you can see, a couple of things to point out. Firstly, there are no regulation pins. The pins that you can see towards the end of the balance arm there are actually anchoring the hairspring, and they don't move. So the only way that you can adjust the timing of the watch, if I can just get that in focus a bit more there, is to adjust a set of screws, which you can't actually see because the balance is moving too fast. And by adjusting those screws, you can affect the rate of the watch. And this is regarded as a better solution than the more common situation where we have a set of regulator pins that we push along the length of the hairspring, which determines the rate of oscillation. It does require some expert fine adjustment of the balance though. And also you can see there, not surprisingly, that Rolex have incorporated some shock protection on the top and indeed the bottom of the balance. So the balance is it's the beating heart of this watch, and as balances go, it is free sprung, high grade, highly adjustable. You can fine tune it if you know what you're doing, and it's a very high grade component. So it's a good place to start with this movement. So now moving across and looking at this wheel here, jeweled, as you can see. This is one of the reversing wheels for the automatic works. There's another one, if I just move the, hang on here. So if I just move the rotor arm, we should be able to just see the edge of the other reversing wheel there. Okay, so the Rolex 2135, as the oscillating weight that you can see anchored in the middle there, as that spins, both of the reversing wheels actually move, but only one of them engages, which means of course that the watch will wind regardless of the direction that the rotor arm is traveling in. Okay, let's just back up now so we can get a better look at the whole movement. Okay, so there it is. We have the oscillating weight. As I've mentioned, we have the free sprung balance here, and we have the automatic works, which are secured by this top plate here. And for more detail on this, you'll have to see my video on the complete disassembly and assembly of this watch. But I think this is enough to just go through just how good this movement is. I neglected to mention, I think, that the balance is made from an alloy of copper and beryllium, which is non-magnetic. I can't remember whether I mentioned that or not, but it is, if I didn't. And the and it beats, of course, at 28,800 beats per minute, which gives it that nice kind of 8 beats per second on the sweep hand there. So from a engineering and technical point of view, this movement is a very, very lovely movement. Also, one thing I've not discussed, just looking at the crown here for a second. The crown, of course, is an oyster perpetual. It's called an oyster because it's waterproof. The crown is a screw down crown. It's not focusing for me there, but the crown is a screw down crown. And it's called perpetual, of course, because it winds itself up, and it winds itself up, as I've explained, via this rotor arm here. So there is the internal part of the watch, and I think, my own view is that this is a very, very lovely movement for what is a very, very nice ladies' watch.
So there we have it. The Rolex Lady-Datejust Oyster Perpetual, probably one of the most simple, elegant watches that a woman can wear. This particular version has the 2135 movement, which is a superb Rolex movement, and in a later video I will be doing a full disassembly and assembly of that movement. So if you like my videos, then please subscribe. Making a lot of good videos at the moment for the channel, but for now, from the Eternal City here on the foothills to the southwest of Rome, thank you very much for taking the trouble to watch this video.